Miche, just talk about that grind from leaving the School of Performing Arts to when you was discovered by John P. Key. Because a lot of times, aspiring musicians they always look at the end of the road instead of what it took to get there.
Man, let me tell you this my whole situation. As I said earlier, that I started playing young, and I
Hmm.
was part of an organization called the Gospel Music Workshop of America, which was um, founded by Reverend James Cleveland. And it's a workshop where people from all over the country, all over the world would come to kind of showcase their art, showcase their music and stuff like that. And so John B. Key was a part of that organization as well, coming from Carolina, and I was part of Philadelphia chapter, and I was in the youth department. So, um, like I said, it wasn't really common for a little boy to be playing keys during that time, and I may have been 14 years old. Like 14 years old, it was me and another guy named Cedric Thompson, who's from Carolina as well.
Hmm.
Um, we may have been the youngest guys in there playing piano, and I'll never forget that. And during that time, and for a little boy to be playing um, in the gospel field, homosexuality was a big thing in that situation. And I will never forget John P. Key came up and slapped me upside the head and said, "Look." And I said, I was a little boy from Philadelphia, from off the street. I'm like, "What you doing? What you doing? What's wrong?" He was like, "No, I want to teach you something." He said, "Look at that. You don't have to be that to make it."
Hmm.
And so 6 years later, 6 years later, I'm 20. Um, John B. Key is doing a concert at the church that I play for. And my choir, the choir I used to play for, Dobbins High School Choir, is singing this song, and it has a piano solo in it. And I'm playing the piano solo, and John B. Key comes upstairs to see who's playing this piano solo. And he looks and he says, "You that little boy I hit in the head years ago." And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, the manager comes over and say, "You want to go on the road?" I'm like, "Yeah." And the manager hands me 6 albums and says, "Learn this." And so that Friday comes, they say, "Well, we're going to be in DC. Can you meet me there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, sure." I learned all the songs off the 6 records, 6 albums, 6 albums. I learned all the songs, jumped in my car, met him there, and the rest is history. From that day on, I was his music director. I was going back and forth. I had just gotten married, had a daughter.
Hmm.
Uh, we moved to Charlotte and in 1990, and the rest is history.